think that we should get into real talk first, though.
Some real
So we
talk. Some real talk for the first action.
real talk for the first action.
All
Start the
right.
people off with the stuff that they know and love.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Two
so
of the
the
smartest men on the
two
planet talking about things that we know nothing about.
real deal. This the homage to the OGs that are back with us for the first season of Real Talk with the homies.
Real ones
Now
know.
the
Also,
AP and
okay,
J show.
but before we get into that, um, so we can track like our episode downloads, like the episodes that people seem to like the most, and the one that people like the most is called George Bush for Press,
Episode 6.
and that was about the election and QAnon stuff. That was way back in like what was that 2020 was it or was it early 2021?
Yeah.
I can't remember, but that was a long time
It
ago,
was early 20. It was like October 2020.
and I would
That
just
was like
like
the
to
last episode we released.
Yeah, yeah. So that one has the most downloads by far, and I'm kind of scared because I hope that it's not. They don't think that it's to us
Why?
plugging like Republican people or wanting George Bush back. It was a joke. The title was a joke. So I just want to put that. I
Y'all
just
need
wanted to
the
say that.
context, the
disclaimer.
context clues. The context clues is what y'all need. But y'all just saw George Bush and ran with it.
I've been wanting to say that publicly for so long, and now we finally
Mhm.
can say it.
Mhm.
But anyway, let's get into AP. Let's talk about
So, all right.
some.
What we
real talk.
talking about for that real talk?
All right, so today we're talking about some insane climate activist stuff that went down in New York. And we're also going to be
Mhm.
talking about deep fakes. And the deep fake thing is interesting, I promise. But the climate change thing, that's more pressing. So we'll get into that first.
Yeah, so this is something that I saw on, I can't remember if it was Twitter or TikTok, like either at the beginning of this week or like a week ago. Again, I should have done more research on the topic. I'm gonna keep that, you know, at like right here. I'm just gonna say it out loud. But from what I saw it was about 7 to 8 different climate scientists, I believe, that were also activists. They chained themselves outside of a building in New York. I think it was J.P. Morgan. Again, don't quote me on this, but it was 7 to 8 scientists. So that's 8. Like you can count that on 2 hands. There's 8 scientists, and I swear, like an absurd number of police officers, the New York PD, showed up to like take these people away. Like the type of like numbers that is like, why do you need that many people to show up for 8 people that are activists that aren't, armed or anything? They're just there in lab coats or whatever they're wearing, just chained to these doors. And they're there because they're trying to push so that more people will know that if we don't start making an active change, and I don't know if it's legislation specifically, but if we're not trying to take steps to combat climate change, we have like 2 years before everything starts going to hell, basically.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think, or I just looked it up so we could actually have
Okay,
reputable
good.
info. Yeah,
Okay,
it was
good.
in L.A. It was in L.A.
Oh, LA. Okay. I knew it was a big
Mhm.
city. My fault.
It was in L.A. Sorry, y'all, but yeah, it was in L.A. It was yeah like a big group of scientists and they're all in riot gear, which is again just
Yeah, the
shows
police. They're in riot gear for 8 scientists.
the things that goes on with the police. We've been talking about this for as long as we've been on this podcast. How
And
they
we'll
just
probably
have,
continue talking about it too.
it's
Which
like
sucks.
bringing a paintball to a game of tag. It's like a level.
Yeah.
It's a level of
There's
unnecessary
levels to this.
violence that's just totally uncalled for. But they just like to,
Mm-mm.
they like to flex all the military gear, which they don't need. But that's a thing for a different story. This
Yeah.
police budgets are
They're
insane,
different.
man. But it also shows that LA is like not. LA is a pretty crime-ridden city. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes down there, and you're telling me
Mhm.
that there weren't other things that were going on that were actually
That
required police
that
attention that day.
all of those police officers, like, come on.
LA's a big city, and they were just like, nope. Let's send what was like 30, 40 police officers and riot
Yeah.
gear to them.
Yeah.
It's just too much. I really,
For and again, like I said, they were unarmed. Like the only thing that they did was that they chained themselves to a door
yeah,
for an
completely
active
unnecessary.
activism. Yeah.
Riot gear was not needed at all. They weren't even being violent. They were just sitting there. It's called oh man, I can't remember. It's a type of peaceful protest. I can't remember what it's called, but uncalled for. No one's being violent. No one was throwing anything. Just police. You know what? Police budgets are insane, man. Police. I can never get over this. I'm a big we'll actually get into this in a real episode. We'll like do some research and actually have stuff to talk about, but I
Mhm.
am a firm believer that if you just take even 20% of major city police budgets and put it directly into education for supplies, teacher
Oh,
salaries,
yeah.
classroom classroom amenities, anything, you will see an incredible decrease in crime rates in those major cities, increases in high school graduations and college applications slash graduations. It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
correlated, and they just waste all of their money trying to. It's like putting. It's like shoveling shit onto shit to make it smell less bad. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense why they just keep throwing
Mhm.
money at a problem in the wrong way. They need to be diverting resources away from the police
Yeah.
and into education. But I did
Yeah,
actually
because
have
it's more than just, how some people say like we have to defund the police, but it's more than that. We have to abolish the police. Because
abolish.
because just like what you're saying, like if you're trying to defund and what's the word? So like if we defund the police, that's one way, and we can push it towards other areas, specifically education. Because as you said, there's correlations to this. Like there's levels to this that we know. Like if more money is there, we're going to see a greater outcome.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like who's going to actually push for that legislation within like the governments? Like we always know that people always say you have to go out and vote, you have to go out and vote. But like when are we actually going to see some change specifically from voting? You know? So it's
The
like,
problem.
yeah, it's more of like a push that we need to like abolish the police
Mhm.
system like of itself and like think of something new. But that's like always the hardest part though, like thinking of
Yeah.
something new.
It's because it's too much work, and that's why no one does
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
too much work, and the people believe that the police are, for some reason, holding up our country, and if we take them down,
Mm-hmm.
then that's just gonna
It's that patriotism.
topple the world. Even though, I will say that America is a warmongering country, and if you actually look at economic graphs, um, during times of war, our economy like skyrockets. Like we have the most
Mm-hmm.
profitable years
Mm-hmm.
during times of war. We live. It's just everything. It's everything, and it's too much to get into in a very short real
Yeah.
talk segment. We
And
will
again,
talk
if you like,
about it in a future episode, but it is just it's a mess, and we'll
because
fix
like
it.
that,
We
but
will
then
fix it for you. Me
yeah,
and
I would
AP,
say I would
we will
say one
fix it.
more thing. I'll say one more thing that a lot of people like in this country don't know about like the history of the police force. I'm pretty sure we said it before, but it's always something you want to say again. Like the
Hmm.
police force is rooted in slavery, like the like
Hmm.
slave patrols of like people hired to catch runaway slaves, enslaved people, I should say that's proper terminology. Like
Hmm.
people that were hired to catch enslaved people that are running away were slave patrols, and slave patrols turned into what we now know as the modern police force. So it's like
Hmm.
there's
In
levels
America,
to
at
this
least, in the
that
U.S.,
a
at
lot of
least.
people don't know about.
Yeah,
But anyways,
that's an episode for another day.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's a topic with endless hours of discussion.
in a neck breaking change, deep fakes.
Yes, yes.
Actually, it's actually no, it's not. I'm actually gonna tie it back. It's not that far off. So on, I've been aware of this for a couple years now, but one popped up and this kind of sparked my thinking about this as a concept. Deepfakes, for those of you who don't know, it's basically facial tracking, and you can put a picture of someone else's face on your face and make you look like somebody else. Is basically how it works. I'm
Mm-hmm.
grossly simplifying it, but that's basically how it works. I saw one. There's this guy who does really, really good Tom Cruise deepfake.
On
And I saw one where
TikTok,
he's jumping over, um, Keegan
Keegan
Michael
Michael
Key's
Key.
jumping over his
Shout out Penn
shoulders,
State.
and he's shout up, hey, come on the podcast, come on the podcast. We love
You
you.
was Kirk. You was Coach Franklin. We saw Coach Franklin. Hey, this Coach. Hey, holla at your boy. Holla at your
Bring him
boy.
on, bring him on, come through. um, but yeah, so I saw that, and I could tell it was a deep fake because there's just something that's off about the face or like how the eyes move and stuff. You can tell because humans have adapted to identify faces. Like that's just what we
Mm-hmm.
do. Our eyes, our brains, our neural circuitry. We have just learned to identify faces over thousands of years. We've learned to do that. So when something isn't a face, that's what the uncanny valley is. It's like it looks so realistic, but we can still tell that it's off.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's really cool. Like it's really cool, but it sparks an interesting debate about the rights that you have to your likeness. There's actually a
Yeah.
debate going on in Hollywood about this. actors, because you can resurrect people from the dead using deepfakes. They did it
Mhm.
in Star Wars. They're doing it a lot in Star Wars, which I have my own problems with. That's a whole nother video.
Oh, so that's how they do like the CGI
Yeah,
stuff
it's this
for that. Okay.
it's basically just an advanced deepfake. It
Okay.
is basically what it is. But aside from that, a darker turn for this, and I really hope I don't give anyone any ideas by saying this, but a darker turn for this is you can use this technology to frame people. You can put someone who
Mm.
wasn't there at the scene of a crime using this type of technology. And like this is still in its infancy. It's only been around for like five or so years. But to use Star Wars again, Star Wars had some of the most, the original one in 1977 had the most advanced um, visual effects in history at that point, aside from maybe 2001: A Space Odyssey. And they used a lot of green screen. And back then, you literally had to cut out pieces of the frame, like in the film, and then put it up against a different background. Now you can do that on your phone super
Yeah,
easily, and it looks pretty good. So just imagine in even another 5 years how advanced this technology will be. And
that's
it's
true.
terrifying to
That's
think
true.
of like how people could use this. So I really hope that someone like gets on this and puts a lock on it where or learns a way that you can disprove, you can like a scientific way to prove the difference between a deep fake and a normal thing, because it's really scary. You can in theory you can frame people and you can put anyone at the scene of a crime, and it is genuinely terrifying to think about. And that's what I was going to tie into the police force, because they plant evidence all the time. It's well known that they plant evidence. So
Mhm.
let's say they get some intern and they bully him into like they bully him into deep faking some dude who they believe is the actual person who's at the
Mhm.
scene of the crime, even though he has a an airtight alibi or whatever. But yeah, that's just the thing that really scares me about deep fakes. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's really cool and it can be really funny sometimes. But like we just got to use it for good. Use your power
Yeah.
for good. Don't
Yeah,
do that.
that's weird.
Don't do bad
That's weird
things.
because I didn't even think about that. Think about it like that. In terms of like CGI and resurrecting
hmm
celebrities. Because I
hmm
remember, because my one of my little brothers, he's 4 years old, but one of the biggest Michael Jackson fans I think I've
It's
ever known,
adorable. It's the
and
cutest
it
thing.
really is. It's crazy. Like y'all should see the videos of this little boy dancing. It's gold. It's gold. But like I said, he watches a lot of Michael Jackson videos, and every
hmm
once in a while we see this one performance of uh like when they do the hologram, like the holographic
hmm
performances like
Yeah.
of artists. Like I know like a Tupac one. Like I remember over the Super Bowl, people were speculating that there might be like a Tupac hologram performance, like with Mary J.
hmm
Blige and Dr. Dre and all them. But
I'm glad they didn't do
thankfully,
that. Yeah, I'm
thankfully,
glad they
yeah,
didn't
like
do it.
thankfully it didn't happen. But that
Because
like
also
brings
he's
like a whole.
alive, and he
He's
just
in
disappeared
Cuba.
to Cuba to run away from Jada Pinkett
He's
Smith.
with his mama in Cuba. Just think about it. Run over oh, you ain't right. Oh, you ain't right. Hey, all I'm saying is Tupac would have slapped the mess out of Chris Rock and everybody would have been silent.
I,
That's all I'm gonna
we
say.
weren't.
That's all I'm gonna
We
say.
said we weren't going to talk about it. We
We
said we
weren't.
weren't. We're not going to talk
It
about it.
slipped. It slipped. I'm sorry. It slipped like that slap. Oh.
Oh, oh, oh.
Anyways, but no, like I was trying to like talk about both of them together. Like I know like the holographic things isn't really as like like when it comes to like respecting like the people that have passed in performances in the same way
hmm
as like deep fakes. So I don't know if it would kind of coincide with each other, like the morals and like ethical like
hmm
values, I guess, of like the difference between the two of those when it comes specifically to like people we deem as celebrities and like famous
hmm
people. But I don't know. Like it'd be weird to think about it. Is like if this is something more personal, so it's not a celebrity, but if you had uh like if your parent passed away when you're like a young kid, but there's like an audio recording of them, like they knew they were gonna pass away, like they had
hmm
cancer or something, and they knew they're gonna pass away, so they had an audio recording specifically to you, and you were
hmm
given the opportunity to have like a deep fake video of them
hmm
like saying that to you, like would there still be like a moral dilemma? I don't know. This is
I
just
don't
something
know.
coming right off my head,
That depends on the
but
person. But then you're also getting into kind of like post posthumous. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but when like Juice World. they, they've made like 3 albums with like all of his unreleased
Oh,
music. They just keep it involved.
posthumous. Is that the
Mhm.
word? Posthumous.
I don't know how to pronounce the word, but you guys
Posthumous. I don't know.
posthumous, posthumous,
Posthumous. I don't know.
hippopotamus.
It's one of them. It's one.
Um,
It's one of them syllables.
but you know what?
Right.
That I've heard it pronounced like 3 different ways, so I know how to pronounce it. But they do that a
Yeah.
lot, and they do that with like Pop Smoke. They
Mm.
Drake did it with
A
Michael
lot with music.
Jackson. It does, yeah, it's a lot with music because there's just so much. So it's like how much of this is okay. I still have a
Yeah.
problem with. I think that you need to stop if like an artist dies in the middle of them producing an album. I think finish it and then leave it alone.
Hey,
Unless
did
they
you ever,
explicitly say keep using my music, I think you should just leave it alone. But
did you
that's
know?
just me.
Fun. I don't know how real this is, but I saw it. It might just be a myth. But Otis Redding, for the recording of sitting on dock of the bay, like the
Hmm.
whistle part at the end, someone said like he died and they were never able to fully finish recording it. So
Oh,
like I saw
I did
again,
not
I
know
don't
that.
know how true that is. I was told this years ago, and I always think about
Mm.
that every single time because I love that song. But someone said that he died and they're never able to fully finish the song. So at the very end, it's just him whistling. But weird. But I was trying to bring
Interesting.
up like we like you bring up how deepfakes can be used like in like a really scary way with police and like framing somebody. But then there's like the other side of it, whereas like deepfakes can be used to like have a certain type of like internal connection with someone that may have passed away that you know. So it's really
Mm.
hard. It's really hard to think about it because there might be positive and negatives to 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 that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
That's
will
just too.
we will save this. We do want to do like a full-ish episode about this. But these are just again, this is
Put
real
that
talk
in
with
your
the
tab.
homies. But yeah, we will do a
Bookmark
future
it.
episode about this.
Bookmark it.
The ethics of it. And again, we're not lawyers or musicians or whatever, but
Yeah.
we're just people who enjoy these things
Those
as
two
art.
boys that were in academia, so we know how to do our research. You
We
know.
do not do our research. We'll write a whole thesis about it.